as you know, the Marines, nobody celebrates their birthday like the Marine Corps. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of my best memories are from Marine Corps balls for sure. Yeah. I had some
Yeah.
good ones over the years. Just give me a little bit of your background, how long you've been in your current role, how you got there, those kind of ideas.
Oh yeah, not a problem. So first and foremost, long lineage of Marine Corps life. My father was a Marine. My brother was a Marine. One of my youngest son was a Marine. My oldest son joined the Navy, but we still love him anyways. But I grew up on Marine Corps bases. From the day I was born, I was born in Beaufort, South Carolina, right there next to the Paris Island, the recruit depot. Um, Moved on from there, with my family, traveling from one Marine Corps base to another. Then I decided to join the Marines myself. Uh, did 20 years on the dot. There was a gap. I did have to get out of the Marine Corps for a year back in '93 when they were decreasing the size of the Marine Corps. One lonely year without the Corps. But thankfully, too many people got out, and they were begging folks to come back in. So I had that honor to come back and serve my country. Right at 20 years, job opportunity I was in the right place, right time. They civilianized my billet as an active duty, what the work I was doing, and I was able to jump right into that. And I've been with the Marine Corps ever since. So 20 years active duty, 15 years as a civilian, working for the Marine Corps, and a whole life. And I grew up on a base, on a military installation, that community that you have. I learned how to swim at the base pool, raised all three of my children in the Marine Corps life and family, and spent 10 years in Japan. Because after I was in Japan when I retired, got out there. And so my three children ended up being very well-rounded, world travelers. And all three of them actually worked for Marine Corps Community Services, which is now, I had no idea that Lance Corporal Cutshall, back when Lance Corporal Cutshall got married, way back when in 1989, had no idea I'd be in the job I'm in today. It's been quite the ride, and I've been very fortunate to be at the right place, the right time, and have wonderful people to work with. Did 3 combat tours in there as well in the early 2000s, right after 9/11. A lot of good experience. Lost friends, but made a ton more. That Marine Corps family just never stops, right? We've got friends I still stay in contact from 25 years ago that haven't seen each other in 25 years, but still contact each other. So it's been a pleasure. All right, that's a quick recap of who I am.
That's great. How long have you been in this role now?
I started in April 1st. Last year was my first day on the job. I'm waiting for someone to tell me, hey, April Fool's joke, you actually don't have a job. But just about 9 months under my belt now. It's interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Marine Corps Community Services from your time in. Sometimes people know what they do, not know what they do. But for your listeners who don't know what Marine Corps Community Services does, we provide every aspect of quality of life on an installation. Everything from childcare to counseling services, fitness centers, basketballs, libraries, convenience stores. I have over 100 convenience stores across the globe, 17 major department stores. So we're recreation hotels. We oversee every hotel on base, recreation lodging, marinas, golf courses, you name it. If it's quality of life, we manage that. So our revenue that we generate on the business side of MCCS, I have a counterpart, Marie Blocki, who is the family side, what we say the family program side of MCCS. So that's just kind of a quick overview of what we do. We're unique. We're the only service that does that under one umbrella.
It really is interesting, all of the things that you do. I don't think I realized all that goes into that. So I think it really is it's good to let folks know all the work you're doing, because it's great work. I mean, there's a lot of great programs that help a lot of people, a lot of Marines and Marines families and all that. So good work. You mentioned also 93. I'd been in about a year and a half. I was a reservist in Naval Air Station Millington, and they shut my unit down, and we had to find a new unit to go to. And so I was a college student at the time, probably, I don't know, 23, 24. I was a young Marine. And so The closest, I was an MP, the closest MP unit was in Atlanta. So I transferred colleges across the state to get closer to Atlanta. Yeah, so that I remember that time well. It definitely was not what I had planned for my time at that point, for sure.
Well, I got to pull the thread on that one. Joe, why were you in Millington? Did you grow up there?
I grew up in around West Tennessee, Southwest Tennessee. We lived in several counties there, but yeah, I lived in Memphis and Jackson and some other places around there.
Okay. My wife is from Millington. That's where I met
Oh
her.
wow!
I went to tech school in '88. When I first came in the Marine Corps, and I'm a Mumford High School. I'm a Tipton County graduate.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
So this segment will be just shown on local newscasts here and also online as well. So a lot of civilians will see it. So what are your thoughts on what civilians should understand about the significance of the 250th birthday for the Marine Corps?
Oh, good question. So the Marine Corps, well, as you know, but maybe your listeners don't, we are really deep rooted in tradition. Our naval heritage, November 10th, 1775, the Marine Corps was born in a bar. And we do take that to heart. There's always the jokes about Marines and their propensity to have a lot of fun. But the biggest thing with the Marine Corps ethos has always had, as I mentioned to you earlier, is just our ethos of family, taking care of each other, looking after each other, because we know at the end of the day, our job is to fight and win the battles of our country. And you cannot do that without the implicit trust and confidence in that Marine sitting to the left and right of you, or the Marines that are in the rear supporting you with fire, supplies, whatever it might be. So that's why the Marine Corps, every birthday, we hold it solemn. November 10th every year. I mean, try to get a hold of Marines for meetings or something for like 2 weeks around that. It's like, no, I'm going to the Marine Corps ball. I'm going to the Marine Corps ball. I went to 2 myself last year, right? Because it's not just go to one. It's like go to multiple, meet your old friends and colleagues. So now we hit just kind of that point that 250 years of service and the ethos of the Marine Corps as a whole. It's just very significant time. I mean, so I don't want to overplay that we don't do this every year. All right, we do. We hold that our value strong, but 250 it just makes it a little bit more powerful, right? When you hit those, centennial kind of points, those milestones that really make a difference. And the fact that we've survived and maintained that ethos for 250 years without wavering, without reducing standards. The Marine Corps has always had a high standard to follow, and we hold each other accountable to that. And the fact that we're able to just stay that strong over a 250-year period and know that we'll still be strong 250 more years from now, it's touching to the heart. Yeah, as a Marine, it runs deep. That love for our country and our brothers and sisters in the service.
As I've done more historical stories and talk to some of these veterans and learning deeper about some of this history that I knew, kind of base level stuff on, the more you dig into it, the more of that you find, of Marines' love for other Marines and doing, the impossible, for the Marine to your right and left. And with that idea, what are your thoughts for Marines, Marine Corps veterans? As you mentioned, we all know what the ball means. We all know what the birthday means. We all know, those things. But this is a big milestone. What's your message to Marines and Marine Corps veterans?
Oh, that's great. My biggest thing is don't lose sight of the Marine Corps. Don't feel that because you're in the middle, Western Tennessee, out in the middle of nowhere with no Marine Corps base around, that you can't be part of the celebration. We are traveling around the country. Our communications director has put a plan together. We're going to have big Marine Corps events, multiple locations throughout the country, trying to help celebrate parades, activities, the Marine Corps' birthday. We're going big on the Super Bowl this year. You're going to see a lot of Marine Corps going, as far as that adds during the Super Bowl. Typically, you see services every year have some big part of the Super Bowl, the color guard and more commercials. this year, tune in, be part of that, be proud, watch the Super Bowl, because you're going to see the Marine Corps celebrating the kickoff, their 250th during all those events that are going on with the Super Bowl ads, you name it. We're into that big, but then that celebration is going to carry on throughout the year. And I mentioned, we got Marines that are out in the middle of nowhere, even just recruiters. If you're familiar, recruiters are all over the place, but it doesn't mean they can't be part of anything. And we're trying here at MCCS, Marine Corps Community Services, making sure that those Marines, because you're a Marine for life, right? There's no former Marine, no ex-Marine. You are a Marine. You earn that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And from that day forward, you're part of the family. And now with veterans having access to all kinds of services, as a veteran, you get MWR services at any base. Doesn't matter you're not retiree. I mean, a veteran. You did 4 years, got out, and that could have been 10, 20 years ago. You now have access through the VA. You get a special card, but then you can go on a base, use all those services that you were used to using when you were active duty, much discounted rates. So you get to be part, of the military community again. But then MCCS is also, we're going to push out our online website for the first time. I know you're like, everybody's been online, Ed, for like 20 years. Well, sorry, we're the government. We're a little slow. We're finally getting into that space, but we're gonna jump in big. So you'll be able to shop online, interface with other. We have blogs. You can interface with other Marines, set up groups. We have actually retiree councils that meet on all the big Marine Corps installations on an annual basis, to kind of have that linkage with your Marine brethren. But nothing like it when we're in the middle of the country somewhere. There's not a military base around, and some big event, and you go, yeah, I'm a Marine, and people look at you different, right? Because like, wow, okay, you did that. And I still, old as I am now, I still get to thank you for your service. I haven't served in over 15 years, but I still get to thank you for your service from people. They really appreciate what the Marine Corps does for the country.
Tell me a little bit about the ambassador initiative here for this year. Number one, thanks for letting me be a part of it. That's honored to even be considered for something like that. But looking at the list of people, some very impressive Marines on there. Tell me about those folks and kind of the idea behind that. What you want to do with that?
Just communicating the vision, what the Marine Corps means, just like you're asking me here, talking to me about, how do I feel about the Marine Corps? What does it mean to me? We're giving all those people the opportunity, those Marines, some, as you mentioned, some big names, Dakota Meyer, Medal of Honor winner. We actually helped him jump into his own experience of being an entrepreneur. We have a special program to help out veterans. We give them a little extra leg up, like, here's how you can get in the business market. We kind of teach them the things that they need to do. But to hear from someone like Dakota Meyer, or a military spouse, or dependents of the Marines, or strong messaging as well. You want to hear everybody's aspect, or yours. Served years ago, now you're in civilian life, but that Marine is still a part of you. I know it is. I can tell it in your manner, your being. It's just, I don't know. Marines are able to pick each other out sometimes just by the way we stand in a crowd. But we want to hear about your experiences. And that's where that ambassador is like, once a Marine, always a Marine. Being an ambassador for the Marine Corps, to go, look, the Marine Corps gave me, could be you or anybody, right? Some people that just did that one stint, gave you the core values. That's still an issue, right? Honor, courage, commitment, but gave you that core to be able to thrive in any environment. That's why I always encourage people to hire veterans, especially Marines, right? Sibling rivalry between services is always going to happen, right? But hiring those veterans because of what they learned, and those ambassadors that we're asking for can help share that story. Whether you were a Marine dependent, went on, because even the children of Marines, sometimes because you grew up on base, your father or mother was in the Marines and kind of instilled some of that in you, and you carry that on through your life as well. You may never earn the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, but being in that ambassador, the 250th, still kind of helps you communicate the value of the Marine Corps and what it's like living and growing up in that. So I'm hoping the ambassadors can just communicate. I'm not hoping, I know they will. They'll communicate those personal stories that they had. of how they became a Marine or was part of the Marine Corps, and how it set them up for success or value or in a helpful spirit later on in their lives.